Morning, everybody. Good to see everybody. All right. Thanks for coming today. All right. I'm going to say hello to our YouTube audience and thank you for joining us at the Evidential Mediumship channel this morning. We appreciate you joining us in the sacred energy of Circle. Today, you're going to be able to watch our evidential mediums as they connect with people who have crossed over to the other side and deliver messages from those people. And our hope is that by watching our mediums at work, you'll come to understand that the loved ones you may have lost are in fact still with you. So please join us as we open with a prayer. Holy Father, Mother God, thank you for allowing us to come together today in service of spirit. Please help us to open all of our senses, physical and spiritual, so that we can receive your messages without interference from our own minds. We humbly ask that you make this circle an uplifting and joyous experience for everyone in attendance. Please ask the spirits who recognize the voices in this room to join us this morning so that we will know that they watch over us, love us, and protect us still. And please allow us to deliver the information presented by Spirit with grace and compassion, in complete trust and respect of your infinite wisdom. Amen. All right, now we have 8 people, so how about if we read for 8 minutes each? Does that work? I'm going to set up a timer here. And whenever anybody gets a link, just go ahead, jump in. Rene, all right, thank you.
I have a woman stepping in, and since this is the day after Valentine's Day, I believe that our loved ones are going to be strong today and give us some good messages. So this woman stepped in with a dark, it looks like a black purse with gold on top of it. And there's some significance to this purse. She has short hair. It's dark. It's kind of like has a wave to it. It's down to like mid-neck. She's telling me she has a glamorous, spectacular life. And she's now presenting in a long, heavy coat. So I feel like she lived or visited in a cold temperature because she has this long, heavy coat on that's below her knees. It's like mid-calf. I also feel like there's something with her either being a journalist or a newscaster because I feel like she's out in the public. There's some significance to the glamour in her life. She's also bringing up, for some reason, Marilyn Monroe and Amelia Earhart. She's bringing up those 2 ladies. And they were pretty significant in the news world. So I kind of feel like this has something to do with news or journalist. And I'm going to stop there and see if anyone understands any of this so far.
Maureen,
I am listening.
I'm listening too, but the lady is all living. She's living today that you're describing.
Oh.
And Elise is listening too.
Okay.
Mine is in spirit.
Okay. And what would you understand, Elise?
I understand the woman with the short dark hair, the wave, the glamorous life, probably the long coat, a newspaper or a newscaster, glamour, the names Marilyn and Amelia.
Okay.
Yeah, the news world journalist.
Okay, thank you. Let me continue to see if I can figure out who this goes to. She's also given the name Ruth. Would either of you understand Ruth around you or around her also?
I am not sure about that name. I can take the other 2, but I'm not sure about Ruth.
Okay. And Effie, could you understand Ruth?
She said no.
No.
She's shaking her head.
Okay. She's also given me significance either to a daughter or a niece that she was close with. and she correspond with. Would you understand that?
Let's see, what are they? Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I was trying to figure out the relationship. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And
I
these,
do feel strongly towards you, Elise, if I can continue to work with you.
yes, please.
Okay. Thank you so much. And you did say this woman is in spirit, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
She's going back to show me this purse. And I feel like there's significance to this purse. I'm not sure if it was about her finances. I feel like she was financially taken care of. Would you understand this?
I would think so, yes.
Okay. Because the purse looks like it's leather. She has this really nice coat on. It may be wool. Her clothes are nice. She's also showing me a ring. And this looks like a very expensive ring. Would you understand a ring or know of a ring around her?
I'm not sure.
Okay, okay. Would you have understood her to have stomach issues?
I don't know.
Okay, okay,
I
because she
don't
was,
know. I don't know
you was,
about health. I'm not
okay.
sure.
I feel like it at times it also could have been nerves, because I feel like being in the field she was in, there was times where even though she presented to the public that she was very calm, she did have nerves or a nervous stomach. I'm not sure if you would know about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised, but I do not know.
Okay, okay. Would you understand Denver with her? Or
Denver,
Denver?
not that I know
Okay, okay, because she's given Denver. She's also given me the number 8. Now I don't know if this is the 8th of the month or it would pertain to August. Would you understand anything for the month of August that would
of.
pertain for her?
I understand August with myself and also just the number 8.
Okay, okay. So she's given that. She's also showing me like a cruise ship. Would you understand a cruise ship with her?
I have no idea. A cruise ship.
Okay.
I don't know.
So as I say that, now she's talking about the Titanic. So I feel like there's snippets of different news stories or articles that made history that she was interested in, that she would follow.
Probably. Yeah.
Okay. And with that, that's part of her message. And she's talking about sailing through life. As she's showing me this big ship in the water, she's talking about sailing through life. And she's talking particularly about your life and saying things are going to get a little bit easier. Things may have been rough for you in the last few years, but she's seeing smooth sailing coming your way. She's showing me on the crest of the water that the sun's coming up, signifying that there'll be sunshine and good times coming your way. She's also showing like the little windows on the ship that you could look out of, and just like looking through that to, she's saying, looking forward to new horizons. And as you look through this window, you can see the water where it joins the sky, and the sun's coming up. So she's saying, be aware of new horizons. And she said, just be joyful in those moments that are presented to you. There have been times when things were questionable, but everything has a way of working out, she's saying. And just everything's right on that horizon. So let the sun rise and be joyful in that moment. And I'm going to leave that with love and light. And I'm going to thank her for coming in. Thanks, Spirit,
Thanks,
for
Jenny.
thank you.
Would you like feedback?
Sure.
I'm trying to figure out, this is my grandmother's sister, who was like my mom's age. So,
I feel like it was an aunt. Was it
yeah.
an aunt?
So
Okay,
it
or
was
a
my
great aunt?
mom's, yeah, great aunt, my mom's aunt, but they were like the same age,
Okay,
like
okay.
sister aunts, right? And she
Because
was
I felt
a newscaster on TV. She did for years and years and years. And I think she did little stories. I don't think she was like anyway, I'm not sure, but that.
okay.
So her niece, my grandmother's daughter, was Marilyn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Amelia is a special name for me. What else? Yeah, and I can understand the message completely.
Really? Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and the purse. I have not long ago, I bought this little gold looking purse. That's
Uh-huh.
just very unique. It's an older vintage looking thing. So
Oh,
I'll take all that. Thank you.
okay, well, thank you. That was awesome. Thank you.
Rene, I actually have a question for you about your reading. Okay.
Sure.
And I thought that was kind of interesting because often I hear mediums give during their readings, they talk about health issues that affected the spirit who has moved on. And that's part of the process of identifying who that person was, is to, possibly what contributed to that cause of death. Okay. But Elise clearly didn't know the cause of death, okay, related to that woman. So instead, you were able to get the names Amelia, Marilyn, and also the fact that she was a journalist. Okay.
Mhm.
So how, do you have any insights as to how you got those pieces of information?
It's like they walk through a door with me and they just start telling me, they present themselves like a real person coming through a door for me. The door is open, they step in, I can see them. And then I also hear them describe her coat. She was describing her coat to me, but she was also giving me these names, and she made me feel a pain in my stomach that only lasted a few seconds, and that she had like a nervous stomach or stomach issues at time, even though she presented being calm to the public. Inside, she was a little nervous.
Okay. That helps a lot. Thank you. Appreciate that.
You're
All right,
welcome.
JoAnn has asked to go next. Do you want to go ahead, JoAnn?
I love that. And for how she described that, because I feel like I realize we have a common theme sometimes when we get together. And the
Yeah.
spirit I have also is very similar, but an opposite sex. What I'm getting, and I feel like I'm drawn to Candice, but everyone listen. It's a gentleman. I feel like it's a grandfather or a great grandfather. I feel that he fought in the war and he came in. I feel that he had lost a leg or he had a club foot. Would you understand that around a grandfather or a great grandfather?
I can understand for a grandfather,
A grandfather,
not him who had the leg problem, but someone close to him.
someone close to him. Because this gentleman that's coming through has like he was like holding his leg, and I heard like a club foot. Would you understand that, gentleman?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Can I work with you, Candice?
Yes, thank you.
I felt like I was pulled to you. And it's interesting because this gentleman, just like it's so interesting how it all comes through, and I love it. But when Rene came through and brought that information, I felt also he presented himself. He was prideful. He had a lot of pride in what he did. But as a result of what happened to him, he had a lot of what we know now to be post-traumatic stress disorder. And would you understand that around this gentleman?
Yes.
Thank you. And the sense I'm getting with him, it's interesting he's coming through. Um, hmm. It's like an awareness of what his life had experienced and how he lived in this life. And it's so drastically different in what he's experiencing now. I feel that the later part of his life, he struggled. Would you understand that? Him
Yes.
struggling.
Mhm.
And what he's showing me is that he took to the bottle. Would you understand that around him?
A little
Okay.
socially.
Because yeah, yes, he had social anxiety, I felt around. But he was a very, felt like very generous and kind individual. Would you understand that around him?
Mhm.
It's interesting how he came through. I felt like a grandfather or father um, figure. Would you understand that he was a family member or a yeah, thank you. I heard Uncle Joe. Uncle Joe. Would you understand an Uncle Joe around him?
I can't take the name Joe.
You cannot? Okay. Sometimes when the names come in, they either sound or is there a sounding name similar to Joe, like Joseph or Joe or okay, I'm going to leave that aside because names can be very tricky. Would you understand him to be an uncle? Thank you. I think that's the reason why. It's like having that, like they tell you certain things to let you know, like the relation of Uncle Joe. Uh, okay. And he's now showing me a dog. Like he had a dog, a companion that helped him and helped him with his anxiety. You would understand that? Okay.
Yeah.
I feel it's a larger dog.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. It's a beautiful dog. I feel like I getting the glimpse of it, but sort of like a golden or a lab.
Mhm.
Thank you. And interesting. Came in very strong. He wants to share. I feel that you had a connection with him. I'm getting a feeling that you were you there on his bedside because I feel like you were there towards the end of his passing.
Yes.
Would you understand that? Okay, thank you. And oh wow. He's sharing with me that you helped him transition. Would you understand that with him?
No.
I felt that, okay, what he's showing me is that you by his bedside, would you have been there by his bedside, holding his hand?
I went to his bedside, but it wasn't at the time.
Okay.
Near the
He's
time.
showing me a memory of you by his bedside and holding his hand.
Yeah.
And the sense I'm getting is that you didn't spend a whole lot of time together, but the times that you spent together were quality time. And what he wanted to express, and the
Yes.
reason why he wants to come forward is that he appreciates the time that you took out of your way and came there and held his hand. It's something about holding his hand and giving him comfort in his time of need. And there's a sense of that he's getting me. It's really interesting. And I'm trying to express it as I'm feeling into it, is that he felt that it's interesting. Despite every challenges that he had endured, he he has the awareness that he wouldn't have changed anything about it, even though it was very difficult. Because it sort of let him and understand. I don't know, it's like he's sharing with me like his plight in life, his plight in life. And I'm asking him to leave a message, or to, if he offers a message he wants to share with you. It's really interesting. It's getting these short little messages. Keep your chin up. That's what I'm hearing. Keep your chin up. And I'm going to leave his love with you.
That was beautiful. I'll just give a few little feedback.
Sure.
So this was my grandfather, and he was in the military. He would have had something that would have caused like a lot of stress in his life. And yeah, this was my father's father, and that's why I think he was making reference of the leg and foot in the beginning. Because
Okay.
that was something that my dad struggles with.
Oh,
So
okay.
thanks, I love that. And the messages really resonates,
Okay, thank you.
especially today. Thanks.
It was short and sweet.
So JoAnn, I have a question for you about that. I thought what was really interesting about that was is you were able to pinpoint the kind of dog that that man had while he was on Earth,
Mhm.
which was fascinating to me. So, any insights on, like, can you share with the YouTube audience how that happened?
Well, when we connect, just like Rene, we call Rene, and she has Marine Bird on there. So everyone knows I'm talking about Marine Bird. When she had mentioned about it comes into view as we connect, and then all of a sudden he presents this beautiful dog that he loved dearly and that supported him. And as I'm feeling into it, I'm sort of get a sense of it, and then I sort of see I don't see exactly what it is, but the perimeter. So I know it's a larger dog. And I was tossing between golden retriever and lab, because I know it was that, like that type of breed. It could be that it's, a combination too. I don't know, but it was beautiful, and I just the feeling that he had, and with that dog, and the love that they had for one another, and I guess that's what
It's
reverberates.
interesting that spirits will talk about their
Mhm.
animals,
Yes,
from the other
most
side.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All righty. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
All right. Who wants to go next?
I can give it a shot, Carol.
Thank you, Tammy. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a man here who I do feel is a direct family relative. And excuse me, what he shows me, and I've been trying to understand why he's making these, but he shows me that he really enjoyed working with wood. And I do feel that he had a woodworking kind of space. It feels a little bit more like a garage. And in particular, he keeps showing me this, how he used to, I think it's called plane, maybe the wood, and sand it. And I just feel like he just keeps bringing me into how soft this wood is. And what that's also showing me is how meticulous he was about it. And he shows me looking at it and sanding it. And and working with this wood with such great care that I felt it was very, very meditative for him. The name that's just coming in is like an Andrew. I'll just give you a few more pieces of information and then I'll check in to see who I'm with. And I do feel that he did a couple of things with the pieces of wood in particular he's working with are very tall and kind of thin pieces. And I feel that he very carefully would kind of set them like in a corner space. But also I feel that there was also in this garage some kind of makeshift shelving, and he could store the wood up in this space as well. So let me just check to see, because am I with you, Rene? Because I'm yeah, and Candice. Okay, because I'm not being pulled in any particular direction just yet. So although I'm feeling pulled a little bit more towards Rene, but so let me just check. Do either of the three of you understand the name? Andy?
I cannot take the name, but everything else I can take. I don't know if he had a friend with that name or not, but I can't take that I know of.
Can you take the name?
I can take an A initial.
An A initial. And
I can take an Andrew around myself, not with him.
Okay, great. So let me just keep going then. And let me get some more. So I also feel with his personality, I feel that he was very introspective and that he really really liked his alone time. And he shows me working when he's in this space working, he really is almost kind of somewhere else while he's doing it. You know, he's there working with the wood, but he's also very contemplative and kind of thinking about things. And I do feel that I feel that at one time at least he smoked. It's not clear to me if he's smoking now, but I do see him also as he moves perhaps from this space, often looking out windows. So he's very kind of dreamlike in that he just feels like he daydreams a lot. So Rene, you're smiling. So do you understand this?
That's very significant. Yes. The windows. Yes.
Candice, do you understand this? You're out. Okay. And Elise, do you understand this?
I understand that. I don't understand the smoking, but I understand the rest of it.
Okay. And Rene, you understand the smoking?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So keep listening. We're going to narrow this down. Okay. Okay. So let's just, okay. So now he takes me outside. And so now we're walking. And he's really interested in textures, because now he's bringing me to like the surface he walks on, and it feels very like there are stones, or it's kind of gravelly, and I'm really if I took my shoes off, I could feel these pebbles or these little stones on my feet. I'm almost feeling them right now. So this is really interesting how he's taking me through this. Would you understand a path that would have stones? What kind of pebbly?
Yes.
And would you too, Elise?
Yes, his driveway was gravel.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's just see how. Let me ask if you can give me something that will separate this. Okay, this is interesting. I was once upon a time in a banking situation. It's very, like, I'm full trust here, throwing that out there. But okay, so think about that. So in a banking situation. So I would say I'm not feeling that he did banking or was a banker. I'm thinking that there were perhaps some financial issues he was trying to work out.
I understand that.
Okay. How
I
about
do
you,
as
Elise?
well. Yes.
You- Okay. Oh, goodness. Okay. Let's just get down. Let me just go back. I want to go back to the name again. So, Rene, you said that you understood the name for somebody
I
around.
don't understand Andrew, except an Andrew around me, but I understand a Drew that was also a carpenter.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. And you, Elise, the name was.
I understand an Andrew that is kind of on the line of leaving this world. I understand a Drew and an Andy in
Got it.
body. So I understand a lot around those, I guess.
Would be a direct family relative on the paternal side for both of you?
Yes.
The Drew,
The direct relative, the person who doing the carpentry?
no,
Ah, okay. I'm probably with Rene then. Okay, so let me just go quickly here because he is a direct family relative on the paternal side. So, and Rene, you said again the Andrew was somebody around Drew. Okay, so
Around me. Around
okay.
me. And
Okay.
Drew's a carpenter.
Okay, and is Drew he's living here?
Yes. Yes.
Great. So I'm gonna got you. Okay, thank you. He's nodding. So let me get this message for Drew because I'm thinking that's what he's coming in with. So okay, he's talking about making something like facets. He's calling facets. And he's using like man. You've got to make the facets stronger, man. So it's like there's some support system that he's saying you need to make that stronger. And it's that man that also feels very like he's trying to let me know that that's how he would have spoken. Would you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. So let me just see. It's in the 30 seconds I have left. Okay, so what he's saying to Drew is to make it more be more organized. He's saying, that, and I'm understanding this because it feels like he was very organized. And
Yes, he was.
so he's saying that Drew, he's kind of saying, get more organized, make things more solid, more secure, just be more thoughtful is the word he just gave me while you're doing these things.
Okay.
And then I just want to ask, was this your brother, Rene?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Yes. And he did all the work on his house. He planed all of the wood. He made the long pieces that were went up for the molding and the trim. He would have those. He built all these beautiful shelves in his garage that he would store everything on. Drew is one of the carpenters I have gone to for an estimate on my porch, and we were talking about the supports and what type of wood we would need to support that would be able to support the roof. So that makes sense. When you were talking about the plane and watching that, he actually planed his hand one time with that piece of equipment and just took all the skin off of his hand. So that was very significant. He had two major windows that he would look out all the time. So he was always standing at the window, looking out the windows. So that was very, very significant too. At one point in life, he did smoke. He quit. Trying to think what else you said. I might have missed. And he was just really, really good at all this wood. And the pebbles I had gotten pebbles to put all around my pool. So when he came, he was talking about the pebbles around my pool.
Thank you so much, Rene. Thanks for the feedback.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Well, that was very interesting, Tammy. Okay, because as I was watching you, you had two people who apparently had very similar people in spirits because both of them understood everything up to the point when you said, this is a male on the father's side of the family. Okay. And that was the piece of information that isolated to just one spirit. Can you explain how you understood the family relationship there?
Yeah, it's really funny. When I first started training, I would be shown things like in a clock. And so at 2 o'clock, at 4 o'clock, and that's how I would remember things because my memory is very strong. And so somehow that they've kept that, and I have this like mind map that's like it's like a half moon, but like a clock. And so they come in a position that I see where they are, and like the paternal is on my left, maternal's on my right, and so it just depends on where they are, at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, and then where they are in between those, and that's how I know where they're coming from.
That's fascinating. So that's a very useful tool for you.
Very, very. In fact, I took a course where we were supposed to just feel where what the relationship was, and it was like, gosh, it's so hard to feel it. Although I have a few times, but because it's just so easy, because they pop in and it's like, oh, and very rarely are they in the wrong spot.
Okay, thank you. All right, Adrienne is asked to go next. Okay, and Adrienne let me know she could potentially be having internet issues. So if her audio gets spotty, we're going to have her turn her camera off. But give it a whirl, Adrienne. See how it goes.
All right. Can you guys hear me okay? Am I starting off okay? Okay. All right. So I do have a male here with me, and he's giving me a lot of different pieces of information that will lead me to France. So the first thing I get is an M name, like Madeline, and I don't know if that's the name or the cookie. So I want to throw that out there. And then there's also a reference to ladybugs. Like I keep saying ladybugs. And I feel like he's kind of taking me to like the French countryside as well. And a bit to like the south of France, where I want to say could possibly be like vacation spot, or yeah. Because I feel like I'm seeing also beaches. And the male that comes in, like when I see him, I see a very big smile, really white teeth when he smiles. I feel like he's a bit tan skinned. I feel like I'm seeing a white button-up shirt and then like nice shorts and the boat shoes, like Sperry's, or yeah, shoes you'd wear in a boat. So he does give me a lot of references to kind of like what he would be wearing in his style too. And I feel like his hair would be nicely maintained. Like I feel like it would be combed over and styled, maybe with gel or hairspray or something to hold it in place. Let me just ask if anybody can understand this male so far. If not, I'll keep going.
I'm listening, Adrienne.
Okay. And I just kind of want to check, Tammy, if you're understanding any of this too, because I do feel your pull, but you're also lined up with Effie on my screen. So okay. All right, thank you. I feel like there's also a reference to like coffee and pastries or something, and I feel like I want to go to like a cafe. Would that make sense to you, Effie? Like coffee and pastries?
Yeah, yes.
Yes, okay. Would you also understand the reference to the movie Marie Antoinette? And if it's not that, he's definitely taking me to France.
I understand Marie Antoinette.
Okay, thank you. I feel like he's like saying something about my sweetheart. So I don't know if you would know him to say this to you, but I feel like because I know yesterday was Valentine's Day and I keep seeing like, the little candy hearts, and I feel like I want to say my sweetheart. So I'm going to throw that out there. Would that make sense?
I don't know.
No. Okay. And maybe it's just in reference to Valentine's Day being yesterday. And then another thing he's showing me is like the poppy fields. I feel like I'm seeing all the red flowers in the fields of poppy. Would you understand the reference he would be making to that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, okay, thank you. So, and this could be my own understanding of the poppy fields, but I feel like what I'm seeing with it is something where I'd kind of go back in time a bit. Like I know World War II, that was very significant, the poppy fields there. Would you understand him kind of going back in time to talk about this, or maybe even the World War II reference?
I understand that I visited there when I was in France.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Let me see what else he has. I feel like he's referencing dark curly hair. And I know your hair is, curly too, but I feel like he's also, would you understand that many people in the family would have similar hair? Like, I feel like he's talking about like the similar hair or like the,
I understand most of them would have dark hair, some
okay,
curly, some wavy.
okay, okay. Because I feel like he's talking about like a similarity there, um, like genetics. Let's see. So he's kind of coming in showing me like working at a computer, and I don't know if he's talking about himself or for you. But I feel like he's talking about being at a desk, working at a computer, and I feel like it's just like pounding away at the computer.
That would be me.
Okay. And he's kind of joking a little bit with that, where he's like, if your fingers were like feet, like you'd have a lot of miles with all the typing.
Yep.
Uh,
I totally understand that too.
because he's just like kind of joking about it and laughing a little bit. He like you need a new pair of shoes by now.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like he's kind of also coming in talking about work. And would you understand that here recently, it's just I feel like the intensity has gone up, or like it's gotten busier, or like more intense, more to do.
Yes.
Okay. So he's kind of talking about, and I don't know if you have anything planned with this or not, but like doing a little retreat or like doing a little mini vacation, like getting away.
Yes, I have that planned.
Okay. Because I feel like he's just kind of saying like a well-due break is needed.
I understand this.
Okay. Because he's kind of talking about burnout. Like he's referencing like maybe feeling a little burnt out with all of that.
Not burnt out, but I understand the intensity's up, and being very busy.
Okay. Okay. Great. Thank you. Um, yeah, and he's just talking about self-care. And again, it feels like because it's been so much, just making sure to kind of make yourself a priority too. Um, what he's giving me the sense of is like being one man short at work or something like that. So I don't know if it feels like taking on another person's job as well as your own, but
I understand resource constraints.
okay, okay, because that's like the feeling I'm getting. Like there could be another person hired and it would help all of this. Um, the flow would be smoother. Okay. And then I'm kind of asking him, oh, last 30 seconds, I'm glad I looked up. He has anything else? And he's like, nope, just stopping in to say hello and making sure she's taking care of herself, which sounds like you are. So I will leave him and I thank him for coming in.
Thank you, Adrienne. Thank you. So I'm not sure. What I understand is I went to France, and when I was in France, I would be in Paris, and I couldn't go to a certain places. I'd be looking out my window and I'd be crying at certain statues or certain areas, and I wasn't a medium back then. I didn't know anything about this. So I visited Juno Beach, which is where D-Day was in Normandy in France. And I went there and I was visiting all the cemeteries. I visited the Canadian cemeteries, the American cemeteries, and I was walking around. And I was very fascinated because that's when I started to hear the bombs coming in, and it was very desolate. If you've ever been there, it's exactly how they never did anything else. They left it exactly how it was. And it's good to see that what they went through, our troops. So what were we saying, Madeline?
Yeah, like either the cookies or the name or the M.
Mary Magdalene.
Oh. Hmm.
She is buried in the south of France, and I'm planning to go there to find her. I've had some readings where
I got chills.
I've had some readings where I cry because some very experienced trance mediums have told me I was a part of her family, and it doesn't. So I'm just at a point right now where when I start to dig further and further, I start crying. I just start crying. I just start crying. So she's there, and that's where she went afterwards. A very complicated rescue, and I don't believe Yeshua was on the cross crucified. It was a very complicated rescue, and they took him, and they lived the rest of their lives in the south of France. And he was under another name, and also I don't know the man that came through. I can only suspect who the man is, but he's been coming in very much into a lot of circles and readings. And the style is the same, the hair color, the Jewish, how he looks, and the message, very, very much. You work very, very hard. You work very, very hard. And take a break. Take a break. The pastries. So in France, I fell in love with these pastries, these macaroons. And I was trying to find all the cafes and pastries. Every time I'd be visiting a place, I would look, I need to get those pastries. I need to get those pastries. And thankfully they built a couple of stores here in Canada, and I was very, very thankful. But when I was very early in the morning at 5 a.m. driving to Normandy, and everything was closed, and I was hungry, and the only store that was open was a bakery and pastry. And this smell that you could smell from a kilometer away of the croissants and the buns. And I didn't even know it was open. It was leading me to that bakery where it was. And then I saw this lineup and everything was closed. So I went inside this bakery, and thankfully I knew French because nobody spoke a word of English. And I took a bite of this croissant, and the entire croissant fell. And it was 2 bites, it's all it's needed. And I went, oh my gosh. I have never had another croissant like that. And it was a mom and pop's bakery. And I understood now why there was a lineup. And I was in the car, and I remember I could not eat the bake because the whole car would be a mess. So I just remember we had to stop, go outside and eat the pastries because that is how incredible they were. I've never had anything else like that. And I thank goodness there is not a store like that here.
Wow, that is too cool. I love it.
Wow. What an interesting reading, Adrienne. Okay. And so what I thought was fascinating about that is that, like, being a casual observer to that, there was so much information there that didn't seem to be connected. But okay, it all made sense to Effie. Okay, and she understood it. Okay, so do you have any insights as to how that all came from spirit?
Honestly, not really. I just they'll show me things or I'll feel things and I'll just kind of say what I get. And I don't try to like overanalyze it. I just be like, okay, I'm seeing this. Can you understand? And some of the things will seem really out there to me, and I'm like, oh gosh, I don't think they're going to be able to know this, but then they do, and I'm like, oh okay. So yeah, I just trust that whatever I'm getting will be, making sense for the sitter. So,
Well, that
Oh,
was
and also to validate your reading, Adrienne, afterwards, the trance medium told me that I had visited Paris, and he said you could not go to certain places because you would start to bawl and cry, and that was just an extra validation for you.
wow. Wow.
nice job. All right, who wants to go next?
I can try.
All right, thank you,
Take a
Effie.
deep breath. A
Mhm.
moment. That's great, Adrienne. I am drawn to Adrienne and Maureen, Rene. I do have a lady coming in here. Actually, yeah, more Maureen than Adrienne. Listen up. I do have a lady. She is a spiritualist. She would have been someone that believed in what we do. She is coming in as a friend. And I also understand within her garden, she would have sunflower. No, it's not that. I understand a sunflower that she would have up in her home, flowers. I do feel. Would you understand this is a friend,
Yeah.
Adrienne Marini?
Yes, I do.
Adrienne? And you understand this is a friend, Rene, that comes in, this lady, an older lady.
Yes.
And would you also understand that she makes me feel her life when she comes in? She was a painter. Would you also understand she liked to paint? She would like to.
Yes.
And would you understand she wasn't a professional painter? She was someone that was more dawdling, more. Actually, no. Would you understand some of her paintings were? Would you understand she was a professional painter?
No. No.
Then, if not the professional painter, would you understand she painted a lot?
Not a lot, but she painted here and there.
I'm feeling this is very therapeutic when the pictures come in of the paintings. So would you
Yeah.
understand there was a moment that she was thinking, should I take this further into the next step to start
That's
painting more?
possible. That was possible.
And would you also understand that she had a room in her house, a place where she would do this?
Yes.
And would you also understand there was also a window there, and she would like to paint the outside. And I feel like your background, she also liked to paint the galaxy, the nighttime, the stars.
Yes.
And would you also understand you went to a class with her? She would go to classes where there was painting, where you would learn
Yes.
a fun night out. And would you also understand this friend you had a lot of fun with? And with those fun nights, there's a cheers of you had good times in
Yes.
some places. And would you understand this lady? Because she makes me feel I'm at a place where I'm dancing and she didn't care who's watching. So would you understand that's the type of relationship you had?
Yes. Yes.
And would you also understand like a name that's around you? I feel like Frederick or Fredrita or Fred, she shared.
I
Ione.
would think about that. Can't think of it all.
That's okay. But the dancing is very, very relevant. And I feel this friendship was really, really strong between the both of you. And the friendship, because it's so strong, there is something where she makes me aware of footprints in the sand, where even though she's not here, you would understand that you have a memo of that. It says footprints in the sand, even though I'm not walking with you, I'm still here.
That's very significant.
And as this lady also comes in, she also makes me aware that in the sky that you like to look up at the shooting stars and how they go dazzling, and she makes that happen for you when she steps in. And there's also like a heart that I understand what she brings in. So I'm understanding there is a card that you have that would have a heart in front of it. And would you understand this?
Yes. Yes. I
And this
just picked up.
card, would you also understand that you collect all those cards that you have, and you're very crafty in that you would make things from the cards. It could be birthday cards, Valentine's Day cards, Christmas cards, and there's something where you know how to do this. Make nothing out of something.
Yes.
And would a name like Irene mean anything to you, Marie?
Oh, yes. Very significant. Yes.
Right. And would you understand she's also on the other side?
Yes.
And you understand that's somebody else bridging with me right now, another friend stepping forward.
She's an aunt.
She's your aunt, okay. So I'm just going to go back to your friend who's very spiritual, but she's not a medium. Would you understand this?
Correct.
And this friendship, I want to go back where it makes me feel like I want to talk about friends with you, makes me feel like you need to have a lot more friends, a lot more support. I know you have this in your life, but she says that to keep reaching out, you're not alone in this, not to quit. And I know a lot about your situation right now with your home, what's happening. I also understand with your aunt, that Irene, that comes in, she makes me also feel that she's someone, that's also, that, oh my gosh, would you understand that she would have like a bird bath in her garden and also feed the birds?
Yes. Mhm.
And would you also understand within her too, I feel this aunt and this friend of yours, Irene, they work together to make abundance happen for you on the other side and to make all those wishes of the stars happen. And I also understand with you, there is a moment where you are now looking to get out your paints and to get out your crayons and to start drawing more and to start getting into that moment of getting your creativity out to, and this is more therapeutic. I don't feel it's going to be spirit art, but to draw and doodle. Would this make sense to you?
Yes. Yes.
And the friend that comes in with has a lot of the close friendship and the cheers that are here. I also understand that you would have spent New Year's Eve together, New Year's, going back
Yes.
in time.
Yeah.
And would you also understand that I'm at a place where it looks like a community and there's lots of people there and it's all friends, it's not family. And this is what, when we meet, a village comes together. It takes a village, it takes friends to help everybody when they're here. So she says that to you. It takes a village to help you. It takes a family, friends, loved ones, and the wider network that we have. And she says you have that right now around you, and not to give up hope, don't quit in what is happening right now in your life. They are working very, very hard for you on the other side. And I also understand that you're also trying to get the support, the funds to help you with your foundation in your home. These two
Yeah.
ladies come in very, very strong. And I want to say the pinky friendship between the friend that is here, but also your aunt. She makes me feel like she's a force of life, but a good woman, a good woman. Now, another man with my time, I just want to leave that with you, Rene, Irene, and your friend. And she says, don't forget, she goes, that my heart, oh my gosh, we do understand there's a tattoo of a heart that comes in, the beating of a heart on a diet on the screen of a radar when we go into the hospital. That's
Yeah.
somebody else that's bridging us. So I just want to leave you, friends, keep them near you, keep them close, and you have that. And these two ladies are very, very close to you, and they are your friends also on the other side, and they love you. And don't quit. Keep going. Lots and lots of love to you, Rene.
Oh, that was beautiful, Effie. Thank you. That was my very, very, very best friend of over 30 years. And we did everything together, and especially dancing. Oh, we would always be out dancing. And we would go do those painting things where they would have the class and you'd have a glass of wine and you'd paint. We were always looking at the stars and the moon, and that was very significant. I am always looking and talking to her under the stars. My aunt Irene, she also has a daughter. After you said that, we call her Dolly, but her name is Irene too. She was very significant in donating for the house. And that all makes sense with the donations. Um, when she passed, I got a heart and it has a little piece out of it. And I said, this is in significance of you, because when you left this world, you took a piece of my heart. And I went last week for some heart tests, and I was watching the image of my heart on the monitor. So that makes sense too. The messages.
Thanks, Rene.
Thank you.
Wow, Effie. You never cease to amaze me with the amount of detail that
Yes.
you get. But and I don't know if you were even aware of it, but when you started that reading off and you were talking about, first of all, the fact that she was a painter and you know she was an amateur painter, the room that she painted in, her subject matter, this kind of stuff. How is it possible to get so specific about some aspect of that spirit? Can you shed any light on that?
Well, it helps that Rene's very open. It
Okay,
helps
so
that
part of
she's
that
open.
is the
She's very,
person
very
reading.
open, and she's that helps them all the time, because I do find with sitters that are very open, it's easier to have the information flow and come in. How it works, I don't really have an answer for you, Carol. It just moves to the next, moves to the next, moves to the next, moves to the next, and it has to flow. It has to flow where when you're getting the piece of the art and going to painting classes and it's sensing also a fun time, the next it has to be natural where now I'm dancing with her and now we're having also a great time and I know I'm hearing New Year's Eve and I know I see this. So it's a natural flow, but the pieces have to flow together. If it doesn't, and I feel like it's awkward or I'm off or the sitter's saying, no, I know I've missed something. It's important that I try to work it out and sort out what I'm feeling, seeing, sensing, hearing. Because the next statement, if I don't work on that piece first, it won't flow naturally. So it's also too that gauging the sitter, yes, no, I don't know. How it works is I don't have an answer. It just comes and it just goes naturally. And it doesn't always work like that.
But I think it's also fascinating that, to some extent you're crediting Rene, okay, because Rene doesn't fear the reading. So in order to get a reading with a level of detail like the one that you provided, you're saying that it's very, very helpful when the sitter or the recipient of the reading just trusts the process and doesn't fear it. Would that be correct?
But I did get it wrong at there was a piece of evidence that I felt like there was a tattoo of a heart monitor. But at the end, Rene did share it. She did go last week for heart tests.
Yeah, but it was just the heart monitor. It wasn't a
I
tattoo.
felt it was more a tattoo, and then it could have been going into my own head back then at that moment. And I caught it.
Tattoo on her shoulder that had a heart after I said that, and I remember that she has a cherub on her shoulder.
But the actual line of the heart monitor made me feel it was tattoo, and I was incorrect. It was more for Rene. I should have really honed in and sensed this is what am I sensing here? It's for Rene. It's worried about her heart, worried about her stress level. They're also manage your stress, which is something I should have said to you. They're very worried, and that like it's not always 110%. It's a chess game, but it's practicing, developing personal development also inside you. The more you work inside yourself, the better you will be able to go deeper into the feelings and emotions that you're experiencing. And that is something I tell everyone when I'm coaching is please go work on you. That is one of the most key things when you're becoming a medium.
Well,
And I'd like to add, doctors are not 100% either. So this is a work in progress as mediums.
Yeah.
thanks for that reminder, JoAnn. All right, we've got Candice and Elise. Who would like to go next? Okay, Candice, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. I feel that I have a man with me, and he's showing me him sitting alone, and I feel that he would have been a bit in his own world, would have seen things differently. And I do feel that this could be a brother. Does this make sense for anybody else? Elise? Okay.
Can you repeat that, Candice?
I feel that I have a man with me, and he was making me aware of like sitting alone, being alone, would have seen things differently, and I felt that he would have been a brother.
Yes, I can also understand that too.
I'm listening.
Okay, 3 of you. Okay. And I feel that there was an intelligence there, that he was intelligent, like how somebody may just see a leaf. I feel like when he looks at a leaf, he notices the veins on the leaf, like really more in detail. Does that help?
I understand that.
I'm out.
Okay, so 2 people. He's showing me him walking at the back of a line, and I feel that I'm content here, and that this would have been long time and experience that he would have felt maybe being okay with walking at the back, if you know what I mean. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's see what else. Yeah, so misunderstood. But he's making me feel like you would have given him the time and you really understood him. And I feel that from past too, like he would have also gone through moods when he was younger where I feel like he could have acted out. But, you know, maybe this is from growing, just part of being young. Does that make sense? Were there hard times when you were growing up?
Yes.
Yeah, I understand the acting out. Excuse me.
And you
Candice, you froze. Do you want to turn your video off so we can hear your audio? Candice, we can't hear you. Can you turn your video off? Oh, dang.
Oh, can you send her a message?
Okay. Here she comes back on. All right. Sorry, YouTube land. Zoom does this. Okay. We lost like the past minute of your reading, so I'll extend it. Okay. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Elise, I didn't hear if you could take that.
I could take that he acted out in his
He
life.
acted out.
Yes.
Okay.
I can understand
And
that.
okay, let's see if I can get a separator here. Yeah, he's also making me aware of that you would have like had his back, looked after him. You didn't want him to get into any trouble. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can understand having his back, but not about getting into trouble, I don't think.
And would you both understand that he was a fisherman?
Yes.
Because I feel like he's showing me getting a big fish and he's so happy and excited.
Yes.
See. He is making me aware of carrying a box of tools, and I feel like there is a screwdriver, those kind of tools. Would that make sense for him in his life?
Yes.
Yes.
He's showing me something that looks like a key ring, something that may be oval, and it actually has like a fish inside. Not like a real fish, like a picture of a fish or something that could be given like a gift. You know, if you go to like a fishing community, you may have these gifts.
Yeah, I understand that. Mm-hmm.
And you, Rene?
I don't understand that.
Okay, so I'll work with Elise if that's okay.
That's okay.
Okay. And let's see. And he's making me feel like you always made him feel good enough when he could have been down or low in how he was feeling himself. Can you take that, Elise?
Yes.
Okay. I feel like he's so thankful to have had you in his life. Let's see. And would you understand that he may have been brought up to believe a certain religion, but I feel that you opened his eyes to a lot of other things too.
There was definitely a certain religion
Yeah.
that I opened his eyes, but maybe I did.
So I feel like he didn't want to just follow maybe and be strict with what he was maybe meant to when he was growing up.
Probably, yeah, I would understand that.
Okay. And I feel like he's also showing me such a beautiful scene where there's like Christmas trees and it's snowing. And I feel like everything's lit up so nicely. And he's just making me feel like a lot of gratitude for when the family was together. Can you take that?
Yes.
Let's see. And I feel like he's also thanking you for like allowing him to be himself. And when he wasn't feeling well, that he would like complain. But you never expected him to be anybody else. I feel like it's as if you put your needs and wants aside and just showed him love. And how he was showing me the fish earlier, I feel like that is also a message and saying like never give up on waiting for your big fish. Because I feel like it will bring you lots of happiness. And there's also like art and enjoy in the motion of just sitting there and being quiet and present and surrendering to what will come in your life, you know? So, and he's with you through this. So I leave his love with you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Candice. Would you like feedback?
Yeah, thanks.
It is my brother. He was a fisherman, and he was also a builder and a woodworker man. But the key ring is very significant because in our family business, even as he was growing up in my grandfather's business, they had these leather cutout fish that was a key ring that had advertising for the business on it.
Okay.
And I still have one of those, and they're from the 60s, I think. So that was very cool. Yeah, and all the other things. So thank you for the message.
Thanks.
So Candice, I have to follow up about that key ring because that was fascinating. Like right up to that point, both Maureen and Elise could take all of that information that you were giving. Okay. And then all of a sudden you came up with that information about a fish key ring. What? Can you explain?
I asked Spirit to give me something that would be a decider, you know, because sometimes if you just carry on giving evidence and not like specify to please help break it up for you, then you just keep giving the same evidence that they can both take.
Okay. And then you ended up giving that evidence with the fish key ring, which was awesome. So, all right. Well, thank you for that clarification. I think that was helpful to the people who are watching. All right, Elise, are you feeling it?
I'm still with the fish key ring. That was great. I've kept mine for years and years. I have to go find it. So thank you. Feeling it. Let's see. All I have at this moment is New York. Someone singing the Alicia Keys, and all they're saying is New York, that part of the song over and over. And I am seeing, and they're showing me, there's a lady standing they're in the city, and she has a little girl with her, and the little girl is just like she's lit up from the lights and the city and the Broadway and the music and the being there. They don't live there. They are visiting the city. And she has just lit up. It feels this woman is in spirit and the little girl is still in body. And it changed this little girl that it just changed her whole world, going to the city and seeing all this and being part of it. Also have the name Sylvia. I'm not sure where that fits in the picture. Can anyone take any of this information so far? Any parts?
Listening.
Me too.
What parts are you
Really.
listening to? Oh, wait, Effie, okay. Carol, what parts?
I actually understand a woman taking a young girl to New York City, and not the name Sylvia, but something close to Sylvia.
Okay. And the woman is in spirit and the little girl is still in
body.
body.
Correct.
And Effie, what can you?
Not as much as Carol.
Okay. We'll keep listening, Effie, but I'll aim for Carol, but let's see. And you understand this little girl, it just changing her, I don't know if it's changing her life. I'll say changing her life. It really affected her life being there.
I'd say that was true.
Yeah, she just loved it so much. The aspect and what the part she loved was Broadway and the shows and acting. Like I said, acting and singing and music and playing and all those aspects of the visit. Let's see. So who are we going with here? Let me talk with the little girl for a sec. So so this did guide her in her life, this direction of the music and the plays. And do you understand that? The music and the plays and in her life?
I understand that she enjoyed them, yes.
And she was musical. Why this lady wants to keep on me? Okay, let me go back. Let me go to the spirit. So this lady is, she was musical as well, the lady in spirit. I don't know, they just both loved it. Okay, lady. This lady was very nicely dressed. The daughter was as well. She liked to get dressed up for special occasions.
Yes, that'd be true.
She is married and has a very lovely, she says, lovely marriage with her husband and a relationship with her husband. And there's a son at home. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a mother and son. A father and son at home. They had a long marriage. They stayed married a long time.
Yes.
What are we doing? Carol, this feels like, is this your mom and you?
No.
It's not, okay. Gosh, it feels so similar somehow here. Okay, let's see. So this lady in spirit, she's so she's giving me a lot of music around her as well.
That's true.
Teaching music, she's teaching music, she's and she's very, I don't, she's supposed to tell me about herself and what she's doing. She's kind of nervous and a little rigid. She's a little bit rigid. This person.
The nervous makes sense.
Yeah, she's just very, I can't quite. She yeah, it's so funny because she seems so free and open here in the city, but then at home. She's a little more nervous and not as, she doesn't speak up as much as she could or would have liked to.
Correct.
Interesting. Yeah, because she feels so different in the city than she does when she goes back home. She's very lit up like the city. Excuse me. So it all, yeah, she does have a hard time vocalizing herself to others. And she was married a long time, but she still had difficulty speaking her mind and her point of view to her husband, and also out in her business, or not her, but where she worked or who she interacted with.
That's correct.
She had a hard time, but she was very involved with like the kids and their schooling or PTA or, you know, the schooling things and the kids' activities. And she participated in things, but again, she had a hard time saying how she felt. She didn't always agree, but she kind of went along with it all. She had sisters. She's talking about two sisters.
That is correct.
Two sisters. And they kind of have all their arms looped together, like the three, I don't know what, musketeers. Musketeers. They got into a little mischief in their childhood, in their life together. As teenagers. As teenagers, they were a little mischievous. They had fun. They had fun together. So her lack of her hesitation, I even have it trying to talk here. Her hesitation in speaking was because her dad didn't allow much speaking for her to speak up.
That makes sense.
In her home, his voice was the voice of the house, and they all kind of listened, and the other sisters might have rebelled a bit more than she kind of, I'll say, cowered or just stayed out of the way. She stayed out of the way. Yeah, but she had such a big heart. She was a very loving person, very kind, and cared about others, and helped her children to have a voice. And she brings that to all of us today, to all of us, to have a voice and stand your ground, and what you're doing is the right thing, and not to doubt. We're all headed in the right direction. I'll leave you with all of that.
Well, I thank you for that, Elise. That was fascinating. So that was my mother-in-law. Okay, my dear mother-in-law. Okay, and she came from a very abusive alcoholic parent family and had to go to work in a factory, specifically Sylvania. Okay, Sylvania. Okay, when she was 14 years old. Okay, to earn money to support the family. Okay. But what I thought was really fascinating about that is, you know, she didn't really have a rich life. Okay. You know, they did not have a lot of money. You managed to find the one like big event in her life, which was that trip to New York.
Yeah.
Okay. And I just found that fascinating. Okay. Because every time that she comes in, you know, it's always the theme of, you know, the poverty and not having enough money and this kind of stuff. You actually found that trip to New York. Okay. And so I'm kind of curious about that for being such an odd piece of evidence. You have any insights as to why she would come in with like that one bit of light in her life, you know, which was great to hear.
Yeah, you know, how it comes, I have no idea. All I know, and I wish I could sing, but she's just belting out Alicia's keys, singing New York. I mean, she just kept saying it over and
She
over.
loved music,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes.
And
She
so she,
sang all over the house,
yeah, she just kept saying that over and singing it, not just saying it, but singing it out loud. And you know, and to bring us all the light, you know, bring us the light in all the, you know, all the mess that she lived in, that we can all can focus on that one light that we all have. If there's only one, it changed her whole life. And I, you know, she just I can feel it in my heart. It changed her, and she just loved it. She loved it so much.
And
There's
it
always
had
something to focus on.
it had to have been great for her because her
Oh.
life was just, you know, so poor, you know, and to be able to take that one trip to New York and, you know, took the kids to see the Statue of Liberty and Broadway and all of that stuff. You
And
know,
I couldn't decide with the little girl and her. I thought, okay, is this? So I think it was both of them. Just, I mean, their eyes were this big, looking at everything, and just it
Yeah.
was so exciting to be there.
Yeah. Well, that was beautiful. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Okay, so it's my turn, and I'm going to see if I can grab me a spirit here. So, who am I looking at here? Oh, this kind of drives me nuts because lately my readings have not started off with people, but they've started off with things. And my thing that I am seeing here is donuts. And I will say that whoever the spirit is, they were passionate about donuts. So let's lean more into it and see if I can find out who this is. Okay, so this is related to a man, and the man is not surprisingly a little, has a little bit of extra love around the middle. Dark-haired guy with shiny hair and dark eyes, a little bit of a shiny face. So I'll stop there and ask if anybody knows the donut man. Not
I
yet.
can understand everything except the dark eyes.
The dark. Okay. All right. Thanks, Rene. Let me see if I can lean into it a bit more. You understand those donuts, huh? The donut fetish.
Big time.
Okay. All right. All right, spirit. So, okay. And spirit's taking me back to the donuts. So I'm going to say this is like obsession level. Also
Yep.
to the point where, what's the word that I want? Like generic donuts were not acceptable. They had to be from like a premium bakery. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, all right. There was a specific bakery that these had to come from. All
Yep.
right. Goodness me. And he's laughing about this, but he just loves these donuts. I'm also going to say that he liked solitude with his donuts because I see him all alone. He's sitting on a porch and he's eating donuts really early in the morning because I can see the sun coming up and like there doesn't seem to be anybody else around him, but he's eating these donuts. That makes sense to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. All right. As I lean into him, he feels like a kind-hearted guy.
Yes.
And I feel like the donut time was his spiritual time too. You know, where it was just his time to think and reflect. You know, that the connection to donuts and nature is kind of interesting for me. But you know, that when he had them both, it was like the
Yep.
pinnacle.
I understand what you're talking about when you're talking about nature and donuts. I know what he's saying.
Okay, all right. Oh my goodness, this is funny. See, and speaking to our YouTube audience, this is why we can't question what we get, because that makes no sense to me, but I'm just the messenger. I'm delivering the information and I'm going to move on. So, okay, let's see if I can see anything else around this guy. I want to say that this man had problems with his lower legs and feet. Would you understand that?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to feel into what that is, and I'm not really getting anything back. I feel like he did not wear. I want to say right now where he's presenting, he's not wearing dressy clothes. He's sitting there in blue jeans. Okay, and blue jeans and a t-shirt with a flannel plaid shirt over top of that. Okay.
Yes, he would. That was his.
All right. And as I look off of his porch, the one thing that I'm seeing is the view seems to like go down a hill and then back up a hill. You understand that? Okay.
Yeah.
And then because this is so early in the morning, there's like a fog that's collecting in this little valley that makes it look very pretty.
Yes, I would understand that.
Okay. You know, this is funny because I don't feel that there's a profound message attached to this. Okay. I think what this reading is just a happy memory for this man that he wants to share. So, yeah, because there's absolutely nothing going on here other than I can hear birds singing in the trees. I can look out over this little dip down the hill and I can see the fog settling down there. And it's just very peaceful and quiet. And Spirit is making me feel very mellow and content and happy. So I'm going to see if he's got a message that he'd like to give along with the donuts. And he's laughing about the donuts. Okay. Because he thinks the donuts are a joke. Okay. And he says, life is always better with donuts. Okay. And he said, have you had your donut today? All right. So I apologize to our YouTube audience that I cannot be more profound than that, but sometimes it just works that way. We're just the messenger. We repeat what we've been told. So, and I am going to leave you that with light and love, Rene, and hopefully that makes some sense to you.
Yeah, it does.
That
was my brother. Yes, that was my brother. At a young age, he got a job in a donut shop. He became manager, and he memorized all of the recipes, and his donuts were absolute perfect, like a work of art. So they would compare them to like store-bought donuts. Like there's no comparison. You have to come to Mr. Donut and get your donuts. Well, when I forget what the other donut shop started to pop up, they came after both my brothers worked in the donut shop. They were both very good at it. They approached both of them and tried to steal them away because they had the recipes and knew how to make these donuts. So it was very prominent. I found a little donut place that makes homemade donuts close to my church. So I'd leave like half an hour early to go get donuts before church. And I had mine last Sunday and I'll have one tomorrow if I make it to church with all this snow. So, what are you saying? Did you have your donut today? I'll have it tomorrow. So that was
all right. Well, okay. Sorry, folks. It happens that way sometimes, but you know, like I said, we're just the messenger. So, all right. Thank you for the feedback, Rene.
Oh, and birds are significant. He built that sun porch, and he would sit out there early in the morning with his coffee and donuts and watch the sun come up. And he had a bunch of feeders out there, and he would watch the birds. And so all morning I'm dog sitting, but I'm sitting next to the window watching all these hundreds of birds, and his symbol for me is cardinal. And a cardinal has come up to the window several times and looked in, and I'm like, I know that's you. I know you're looking in on me. Give me a message here today. So the donuts is significant. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming today. I want to thank the folks out there in YouTube land for watching us today. Please come back and join us next week, same time, same channel. I'm going to go ahead and close this down with a prayer. If everyone would join me, please. Holy Father, Mother God, thank you for allowing us to come together today in service of spirit. Thank you for this gift of mediumship that you've given us, and allow us to use this precious gift to help others who need your healing and love. Bless all of our friends and loved ones and protect them from sickness and harm. Bring joy into the lives of people who have sorrow, health into the lives of people who have illness, and abundance to the lives of people who have little. Thank you for the lessons that you've given us today, and help us to continue to build a relationship with you that is based on love and trust. And always, please help us to be the lights that change this world for the better. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Thanks again, and we hope to see you next week. Bye-bye now.